So you want to become good speakers now, is it? Now I'm going to help you do that. Now, the most regularly asked question is that I can write English very well, but I cannot speak English that well. Now, this kind of problem can only be found in a country which is obsessed by a foreign language but has some other language as the mother tongue or multiple other languages. Well, if you did not get it, I'm talking about India. So let us talk about this weird problem that even Dale Carnegie could not have solved. Let us talk about that I can write very well, but I cannot speak that well. Well, let us go to the root, thinking like a scientist now. How can this problem actually arise? If you can write very well, that means that your grammar is down. That means that you understand the language very well, right? If you can understand the language, you know the grammar of the language, you know the basic mathematics of the language, of how to compose words into sentences, how to express a particular thought. If you know that, why aren't you able to speak that? Again, going deeper, digging deeper like a scientist. What is the difference between speaking and writing? Let us think about two things. Number one, corrections. While writing, can you make corrections? Oh yeah, we have all done that during our examination. If it is a pencil, then we are going to erase it. If it is written by pen, then we are going to cut it out and continue writing, right? In speaking, is there any correction? Let us say just now I made a mistake. Can we make a correction? No, whatever is said is going to stay in the universe till eternity in the form of sound waves. So if I make a mistake, there is no reversible path over there, right? So you cannot actually make corrections. Thinking time. Okay. While you're writing, can you think? Obviously, it's like a chess match. The next step, you can take as much time as possible. It's a different deal during the examination, but you can actually think while you're writing. While you're speaking, yeah, obviously, but I have to think as I speak continuously. And if I stop to think what I'm going to say next, the audience is going to keep on guessing. We don't really want to do that. Although in the next one, we are going to talk about the pauses, how to effectively use the pause to make your speeches better for your audience and also better and more comfortable for you to speak. So you understand the elemental differences between speaking and writing? If you do that, if we break it down, if we decipher it to that extent, then we'll be able to find out how to deal with this problem where I know the fucking language, but I cannot actually write it. So let us move forward towards that. I know the language, but I cannot actually speak it. That's actually weird. It's kind of like I know the sport of cricket. I know what a bowler is trying to do. I know what the batsman is trying to do. I know what is a pace bowling. I know what spin, or let us say, if I know the sport of boxing, I know what is straight. I know what is jab. I know the combination of jab, straight, hook. I know what is liver shot, but I won't be able to box. I won't be able to get in the ring with Roy Jones Jr. and box with him. No, I won't be able to do that. But a lot of us do this while watching a sport. We try to find out the mistakes of the player, even though we have never played before. How are we able to do that? Well, we understand the sport. We understand the game, but we can't play it. Why is that? What is the difference between the player and the spectator? The person who is watching the sport and the person who is playing the sport. Is the difference in the understanding of the game? No, both understands the game. Player won't be able to play without understanding the game, and spectator won't be able to watch if that person won't be knowing the rules of the game. That would be super boring game if you do not know the rules of the game. You cannot watch basketball game without knowing what kind of points are getting scored and what is the total general rule, and you do not even understand when a person has done fall or something, or sportsman has done fall, right? So what is the point over here? You can understand the rules of boxing. You can understand the basic general characteristic and the shots and all of those things about boxing, but you cannot fight in a boxing match. Why? Because your arms are not ready to throw that jab, straight, hook combination. Your head is not ready to dodge. Your body is not ready to twist at the right moment. Why is that? Because your body is not trained to do that on a regular basis. That is the difference between the spectator and the player. player is trained. That player is physically trained to execute those rules and execute all the things that you want to watch. But what the spectator does, that person only knows that in here. That is the thing about difference between writing and speaking. A person who writes English very well has all of it over here. But that person, when he tries or she tries to speak, it is not over here. Your tongue is not trained. Your body is not ready to speak in front of multiple people. Why is that? Because you have never trained it. A sportsman, a player, a boxer trains every day or not? Do you train every day your voice of how you're going to speak? Do you speak every day in front of multiple people? I speak every day in front of thousands of people. But because I'm at this situation, but I was not always like this. For 6 years, I spoke in front of mirror. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to tell you. You are losing confidence. That is why you are not able to speak in front of people. That is the biggest problem with most people. You're not confident. That's it. That is why you know what you want to say, but you're not able to say that. Half of that is that your tongue and your body is not ready to do that because you are not practiced enough. The second thing is that you're not comfortable in that situation. So if you speak in front of mirror almost every day, then you know how you look. There's a difference between you looking like Brad Pitt and you knowing how you look. You looking like Brad Pitt won't give you the maximum confidence. Actually, it will. But then again, it is impossible for you to look like Brad Pitt. Okay. But you knowing how you look will also give you a huge confidence. That is why I collaborated those two things. You have to speak. You have to speak in front of mirror. You have to record what you speak. And then you have to listen what you recorded. Why did I say these two things? More importantly, why did I say that you should speak in front of mirror and then you should record? You should record what you speak and then you should listen that. Okay? Why is that? Because you should know how you look while you speak. That is going to be served by you speaking in front of mirror because you're constantly looking at the way you're speaking. And the second thing, that you are going to listen. So you're going to understand how you sound while you speak. Now, this is very important. So listen to me carefully. You do not actually know how you speak if you do not actually listen to yourself from a third party source. Why is that? If you speak right now and I'm sitting right in front of you, then I'm going to listen to your voice, whatever your vocal cord has produced. I'm going to listen to that through the sound compression and rarefaction of the air, right? That is going to come and then it is going to hit my eardrum and I'm going to listen to that. So I'm going to listen to your sound or any other person until and unless you're talking underwater. That is not going to be possible because you're going to anyways. Okay. So in any general situation, another person to whom you're trying to talk is going to listen to you because of the compression and rarefaction of the medium that is going to be air. But you are listening to yourself through the vibration of your body. So whatever you're producing is going straight to your ears, and that is what you're listening. So you'll never be able to actually understand how you sound until and unless you listen to whatever you're recorded. So that is what I say all the time, at least 20 minutes. If you are committed to improving your spoken English, at least 20 minutes every day. You speak in front of mirror, you record what you speak, you listen to whatever you have recorded, and when you speak in front of mirror. That's it. Keep these things in your mind, and that is how your body and your vocal cord and your tongue is actually going to get practice of speaking out. So that grammar is ready in your head, that language is good in your head. You're writing very well, but what about you executing it when you're speaking? That will require practice. Well, do I require practice for writing? I do not remember writing every day. Well, you do not, but all the examinations that you have given, especially if you're from English medium, all of those examinations you have been continuously writing, your homework where you were continuously writing. So you actually practiced. If you never wrote, no, you won't be able to write. There are a lot of uneducated people who can understand the language very well, but they cannot write. That is what we call unpad in Hindi, right? Uneducated people can speak very well. understand very well, but they cannot write because they've never written. That's it. They know the language just by listening to it. I learned couple of languages. I tried to learn Tamil. I tried to learn Nepali. Just by listening, I cannot write Tamil, but I can understand few of the phrases. So you understand. So whatever you practice, it's going to become better. If you want to speak better, you have to practice. There's no easy way out where you were expecting Ashish Ranjan is going to give you a magical keyword. You're going to just chant it and you're going to understand how to speak English as good as Torq over here. No, sir, that's never going to happen. All right. Now, one more point that I would like to mention over here is something that I forgot, but I'm going to just take a quick look over here. So I was saying that since I've said it in the beginning only, that writing, you can correct things. And in writing, you'll get more response time. That means that you can actually think while you're speaking, right? So you need to understand that you have to be much faster. Your brain actually has to work much faster while you're speaking because that is the requirement over here. Now, you need to understand this one thing very carefully. When you're speaking, you are working on a frequency, okay? Now I'm thinking in terms of audience. You are my audience right now. So when I'm speaking in this frequency, you are trying to listen to this frequency. And when I'm speaking at this frequency, up and down, up and down, up and down, all of a sudden I take a pause because I'm thinking what I'm going to say next, or I made a mistake, or say something like that. We all know about that. Right? What happens to the audience? Audience frequency was going, listening, capturing. What happened? Oh, I'm going to think about something else. That's what happens. That's when you lose the attention of the audience. And my friends, attention of the audience is gold over here. That's all you need to know as a speaker. So you have to understand that your brain should work fast, but not Sherlock Holmes level fast. That's another thing that I would like to mention over here. I was taking a webinar or public speaking, we call it the art of speaking, and one person over there said that this is what I practiced last night. You said you have to practice every night before you go to sleep, something like that, or any time in the day you have to practice speaking English for 20 minutes. This is what I practiced. I listened to some dialogues in an English movie and then I tried to repeat it in front of a mirror. And I said, that's the stupidest thing that you can do. Because that actor who is saying that, it's not like that person is saying that on that spot. That person actually rehearsed that some dangerous amount of times in front of a mirror, memorized it properly, and then executed in front of camera. That is not the kind of speaking skill that we are trying to develop. Do I have a script over here? No, I have 3 points written over here so that I do not forget about some of the important things, but I do not speak one by one every word that I memorized or something like that, right? So do not look at movies and things like that. You have to learn how to express your thoughts on spot. That is very important. That is the epitome of you speaking good in any language, and you are going to achieve big things if you can master that. Now, speaking of that, let's talk about speeches. What are these speeches? Yeah, there are multiple kinds of speeches. Rehearsed speeches. Some people will come up with pages written. We have all been on those some special days, some festival will be there, and some person will be inaugurating the guest or going to the stage and talking about things, and that person would be having a whole page of, let us say, paragraphs and paragraphs written about things, and those are the most boring part of any event. Don't you think so? Most boring. Why do you think that is? Because the way we speak is entirely different than the way we write. And what that kind of speech is, where I'm going to have pages and paragraphs of things written, I have written it in a manner that I write. We don't really speak like the way we write. You know how I understood this? Because in the beginning, when I was making YouTube videos, I was writing everything that I wanted to speak about. And then I found out that we don't really speak the way we write. Ever notice this? Try to write things and then try to speak the same thing. But don't just read it out, but just try to say the same things. Try to say the same points. You'll find out that you're fabricating things in a completely different manner. So there's a huge difference between the way we speak and the way we write. And that is why the way we speak is the way we want to listen. And the way we write is the way those speakers speak in a speech, and people who are listening are bored. So I would not like that to happen to you guys. So you have to develop that ability of yours of expressing the thoughts that are going in your head on spot. So let's summarize. What is the good news? Good news is that you know the language, you know the mathematics of the language, you know the rules of the game. What is the bad news? You don't have the practice to execute that. What can you do for that? You have to practice in front of mirror, practice speaking in front of mirror, record whatever you're speaking, and then listen to that recording, whatever you have said. It is very important to know the way you look while you speak and the way you sound while you speak. If you know how you sound, if you know how you look, you're going to be much more confident. What should I speak about? Speak about your daily experiences. If you're having your original thoughts, try to speak about that. I still remember when I was in college, I used to have these weird thoughts. Any thought that I will be getting that this is the topic that I would like to talk about, I would just note it down somewhere, note it down in my hand or something. And then I would try to speak about those topics. And after like 2-3 months, I had a bunch of topics that are pending and I want to speak about it someday or the other. And I did. And that originally created the kind of speaking skill that you're seeing right now, that I'm able to express my thoughts. I'm able to express whatever is going on. I'm able to express my past experiences the way that is going on in my head. You can also talk about something that you studied. You can talk about some documentary that you watched. You can talk about some book that you were reading. But do not do this, that I'm going to write paragraphs and I'm going to speak about that. If you're forgetting about things, write down points, write down 5-6 bullet points, and you can talk about that. It's going to help you improve your ability to express things that are going on in your head. And that is all speaking is about. You have to become good at that. If you can master that, you're going to be good for the interviews. You are going to be good talking to your friends. You're going to be good when you're making a deal for your business. You're going to be good when you're talking in front of 50 people, 500 people, 5,000 people. It depends on you how far you're going to go. But the nature is very simple. This is the basic rule. And then it is modular. You can go as far as you want to go. That's about it, guys. I'm going to end this video over here. I'm running a webinar called Art of Speaking. I just want you guys to be aware. 2 batches are full. The first batch started in October. The second batch started in mid of October. The batches are like, there are going to be 4 sessions. So every Sunday we are going to have 2-hour sessions. And then throughout the week, you are going to do your homework and you're going to send it to me. I'm going to listen to those recordings and I'm going to tell you what your mistakes are. On Wednesday or Thursday, we are going to have a telephonic consultancy call where I'm going to tell you what your mistakes are. And the next week, when we are going to discuss the next session for again 2 hours, I'm going to work on your problems. At the end, you're going to get certificate, but the actual certificate that you're going to carry is the voice that is always going to stay with you. I'm reducing it. Now this month I did 2 kind of webinars, but since I'm in this webinar, what is special is there's only going to be 5 people so that I can look at you guys personally. I do not think that I can improve more than 5 people in 1 month. That is what I honestly believe. Otherwise, I could have had a 3-hour seminar with 500 people filled in that with 200 rupees ticket, but it is going to be costly, a little bit more costly than 200 rupees. All the costs and all are written down in the description box if you're good with that. And also, please only attend if you're very serious in improving your public speaking, because I'm going to be working on you for 1 month, and that momentum I think is going to go with you for the rest of your life. Currently, there are no batches. 1 batch is going to end in the mid of November. The next is going to start in December. I'm going to take only 5 people every month. 5 people for December, 5 people for January, 5 people for February. If you want to book, pre-book it. Otherwise, it's going to be filled very fast. All right. So that has happened that I made 1 video. I talked about it a little bit. And by the time I was able to make next video on my second YouTube channel, all the seats of the first seminar was booked. Okay. I'm very grateful to have an audience like this, but this is just for your knowing. That is why I talk about these things at the end, so that only the serious people get over here. I can tell you all the tricks down my sleeve. There's nothing hidden, but there's sometimes need for me to work on you guys personally. There are a lot of times, I'm knowing this now because I've done seminars already, that people do not understand things in the direction that I want them to understand. I want to say A and they understand B. In that manner, I have to correct those things. And sometimes people have their own personal problems that need to be worked on personally. That is why only 5 people per batch. If you're interested, every information will be down in the description box. A special thanks to each and every one of you for staying till this end. I'll see all of you in the next one, and I hope all of you become very good speaker down the line. See you next time.